We are live in the greatest city in the world. Welcome everybody to the 2016 Veterans Day Parade. We are indeed live here in New York City.
And it's pretty amazing because we are right here on this beautiful Coast Guard ship with the Coast Guard right here.
You guys pumped up or what?
Yeah! Are you guys ready to kick off this Veterans Day Parade? Yeah! All right, today's parade reflects upon a 15-year anniversary of September 11th.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, today's Grand Marshals, for the first time, we have three of them. All three 9/11 responders and post 9/11 veterans. Unbelievable day today.
Yeah, among the first responders on the day were members of the U.S. Coast Guard. Members of Sector New York are leading the parade as the featured service today. And boy, do they have a beautiful day to celebrate as we march down Fifth Avenue. The parade features over 250 groups, 250,000 marchers. And you know what? The crowd is ready.
The crowd is ready to go. Let's kick this parade off. We welcome a young lady who started a letter writing campaign to send encouragement to the brave men and women who fight for our country. Here now to sing the national anthem is 14-year-old Savannah Madison.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we'd hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight were the ramparts we'd watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, their bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Held on New York City's iconic Fifth Avenue, America's parade strives to ensure that the public always embraces its commitment to provide all veterans and their families with the care, recognition, and opportunities they have rightfully earned. This year's parade commemorates the 15th anniversary of 9/11 and honors veterans of the global war on terrorism. The featured service in 2016 is the United States Coast Guard, whose motto is Semper Paratus, always ready. It was the Coast Guard that mobilized within minutes of the attack on the World Trade Center. The Grand Marshals this year were all first responders that fateful day. The NYPD, FDNY, and Port Authority answered the call of duty that day, and our Grand Marshals also became post-9/11 military veterans. This year, the New York Parade is linking to veterans parades in Los Angeles and Philadelphia, establishing a major national network of veterans commemoration, which will grow to 10 cities by 2019. Join us today on Pix 11 in honoring these men and women on this 97th anniversary of the Veterans Day Parade.
Live from Fifth Avenue in the heart of Manhattan, it's America's Parade 2016. Veterans Day in New York City. Now here are your hosts Sukanya Krishnan and Scott Stanford.
And welcome to America's Parade 2016. And look at the streets of New York City lined. People, look at that. Hundreds of people have lined for several city blocks to really commemorate this day and remember those who made the ultimate sacrifice, those men and women who served this great country of ours. And boy, are we here to celebrate with you.
Oh, Suki, I'll tell you what, I am so excited today just to see all these folks lined up on Fifth Avenue. Thousands of people lining up here to pay tribute to the men and women of our armed forces. You know, every branch of service going to be represented here today, the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and of course, our featured armed service, the Coast Guard.
The U.S. Coast Guard.
Right.
And boy, we were just on one of those amazing ships with those amazing men and women and got a chance to feel the energy, and hopefully you at home are feeling the energy and the pride of what it is to be an American today, and that is the feeling that we're going to put forth into the ethers and the energies. Let's bring our co-host in.
Yes, let's do it. The one and only Paul Bucha. Paul, thank you for coming around today.
Paul, nice to see you.
This is the man, ladies and gentlemen, Vietnam vet, Medal of Honor recipient. So nice to have you here. It's been some week for vets this week, right?
In New York City, we have a thing called Veterans Week.
Yes.
And it goes 14 days.
know
Typical
it
of New York. It's got to be bigger than a week.
14 days. All right, so listen, let's talk about today's events. You know, I can only imagine the pride that, you know, the men and women of the armed forces marching through this parade and the armed forces watching all over the world, because this thing really is, you know, as we say, it's America's parade. You know, the pride just has to be tremendous today.
I think for the vets and the active duty, there is no bigger stage.
Sure.
They are sent all over the world. They come home and they want to go to the Big Apple.
Yeah.
And they're the guests of honor.
And look at New
That is
York's
special.
finest behind you. Look at the guest of honor who's kicking it off. New York City's Department Police Band is there. And then, of course, we have all the men and women behind you. A sea of blue for a reason. They are the pride of New York City, and they are the pride right now.
And, of course, Pix 11 is going to provide full coverage of this parade all throughout the day until 3 p.m. We're here on site on Fifth Avenue. We're also airing around the world on American Forces Network and streaming live on military.com, reaching a worldwide audience. And, Sue, don't forget, Pix 11, we're going to air a 60-minute parade recap special coming up on Sunday, November 13th at 4 p.m. So let's get this thing cooking.
We're going north on Fifth Avenue to give you some perspective. It's 1.2 miles. It's going to take approximately 30 to 35 minutes. What do you think these men and women are feeling, Paul? They couldn't have a better, beautiful day or a backdrop when you're looking at it right here.
I think they're thinking, this is our day.
Yeah.
All the other times, they're anonymous, inconspicuous people walking the streets of New York. But today, they're going up Fifth Avenue with everybody looking at them. And by the way, I think we ought to just, for the troops overseas, let's give them a shout out.
A big shout out to all the troops.
God bless you.
Absolutely. Big
God
shout
bless
out.
you. We love you, and we hope that you are continuing to watch this special coverage, because without you, there is no us, right? And we need to tell them that without you doing what you do overseas, there is no families, freedom, everything that this great country of ours stands for. Listen, as we look at the NYPD, this is a very special year. Of course, 15 years since September 11th, and so many men and women that you see here had served.
Mayor de Blasio coming down Fifth Avenue.
When those days were so critical. So tell me what it must feel for them 15 years later to be walking here, to think about this great city, where we've come, how far we have to go, and what it is to be here.
Remember, that day, they didn't know if they were going to live to see the evening.
Yeah.
No one knew. And they went down, and they went into that building.
All right, Paul, let's leave it there for 1 second, because Pix 11's Marvin Scott is out on the parade route, and he has Mayor Bill de Blasio. Go ahead, Marvin.
I not only have Mayor de Blasio, but I have Police Commissioner James O'Neill, and this is quite a day. This is a parade in New York, but this is New York-style parade, America's parade, and you are the chief cheerleader.
Marvin, let me tell you, I'm so proud of New York City today. Biggest veterans parade in the entire country. And our message today is we honor our veterans on Veterans Day, but we have to take care of them every single day. I want all New Yorkers to realize if you have a job to give someone, give it to a veteran. If you have an apartment to rent, rent it to a veteran, especially those who have been homeless that we're going to make sure have a home. So this day really makes us proud, but we have to remember every day to serve our veterans.
You did something quite historic this year. I want to ask you about that in a minute, but first, I know you have so many veterans in the police department, Commissioner. Yeah, Marvin, we do. We have over 4,000 men and women that have served or are serving in the military. So I thought it was really important that I'm here today marching with them. I'm so proud of what they do, what they've done for the country, and what they continue to do for this city. Now, this is your first time marching in this parade as police commissioner. Can you feel the excitement, the patriotic fervor? No, it feels great. You know, we have just tremendous men and women in this police department. I'm so proud to be here with them. I got to ask you about the historic thing you this year, because you're so committed to veterans. Yeah. You formed a Department of Veterans Services, yes, which is different from the Department of Veterans Affairs, but it's more than a difference in the name change.
It means that New York City is going to go the extra mile for our veterans, and we're going to work on all the fronts that matter to veterans, getting them jobs, getting them health care, including mental health care, getting them housing. Look, we all know sometimes the federal government hasn't done all we would have liked for our veterans. We're going to pick up a lot of that slack and get the job done.
Now, you made a commitment when you took office as to find housing for all veterans. How do you stand on that commitment?
We have, according to the federal government, we have ended chronic veteran homelessness. That means the veterans who were homeless for a long time, every single one of them. In the last year, since last Veteran Day, 1,600 veterans we've given a home. There's still some veterans becoming homeless, and it's a very sad reality. We're going to reach them too. I don't want us to have a single veteran who's homeless in New York City.
Well, Mayor de Blasio, Commissioner O'Neill, thank you. They're holding your spot in the line of march.
All right.
Thank you. Let's go back to the booth. Suki, Scott.
All right, thank you so much, Marvin. And that is a big promise that the mayor of New York City
Yes.
has made to veterans and a commitment. And so many veterans, you heard Commissioner O'Neill say 4,000 New York City police officers are serving or have served in the military. That is a tremendous number that tells you why New York City's finest goes the extra mile for the country. Let's go to Elise Barker. She's down on the red carpet, a nice bird's eye view. Elise, what are you doing?
Hey guys, we're already having so much fun down here. Elise Barker, veterans advocate and spokesperson of the United War Veterans Council. This parade is my heart. When the marchers start, oh gosh, it just makes me tear up. And I come from a military family. My grandfather served, my uncle served. One of them is here today, and it's just an amazing day. So thank you to all of those who have served, who are serving, and to your families. We love you, we honor you, and we're gonna be bringing you some really great interviews, or I will be here from the red carpet. So have so much fun today, enjoy today, and thank you for your service.
All right, thank you, Elise. You're taking a live look now at the NYPD, the oldest police department in the entire country. And of course, we're sitting here in the booth with Vietnam Vet Medal of Honor recipient Paul Buca. Paul, you know, I wanted to ask you, I know you and Suki had a chance to do this last year. This is the first time you and I have met. And you know, when you read your resume, I mean, it's such an impressive resume, the things you went through. I mean, you were sent to Vietnam in 1967. You were 24 years old. What were your thoughts, if you can remember, what were your thoughts when you went over, and what was the acclimation process like when you came back? Was it a tough one for you, as we've seen throughout history from Vietnam vets coming back home?
Going over, I wanted, and I was focused on one thing, bringing every man back.
Right.
And I was curious how difficult that would be. The other thing that I think is important is the Medal of Honor recipients and POWs, when we came home, we were welcome. The other guys were not.
Okay.
So for me to claim, oh, it was tough on me, no, it wasn't. It was easy. It was hell on me. And that drew us closer, because I knew that there was something we had to do to make sure that no one ever did this again. And the Vietnam Veterans of America came together, and they made the commitment that never would a veteran serve overseas in a war and return to this country and receive anything but thanks.
And that's
Yeah.
what we're doing this
And that's what
afternoon.
we're
We
doing
are
today.
giving thanks in a big way, in a New York City way. It's a New York City salute like you'll never see. It is the 2016 America's Parade, and you are watching it live here on Pix 11. Stay tuned. We have so much more coming.
Parade is back, ladies and gentlemen. Fifth Avenue live in New York City. You're watching coverage live here on Pix 11. Scott Stanford, Sukanya Krishnan, and we are just, I mean, Suki, I got to tell you, my American pride is just beaming right now, as I have to imagine the men and women of the U.S. Armed Forces just have to be, and Paul, you know, we said this earlier, you know, how proud can you get on a day like today?
And the day's perfect. It's the day that contributes to pride, and the people are out smiling. They're happy. They're not huddled under windshield breakers or anything. They're out there and enjoying it. It's
And let's take a look at the Ground Zero flag. I mean, this is a symbol of so much for so many. This American flag was donated to a Ground Zero volunteer from New York City during the rescue and recovery operations after the terrorist attacks on September 11th. And of course, it's been 15 years. It was unfurled on a building overlooking the World Trade Center site. And for over 2 months, it helped give so many people who went down there the strength and courage to continue the task. And that task was momentous. And look at that. On Fifth Avenue, that's the shot that you want to see on this Veterans Day. If that doesn't make you sing with pride, thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate it. It is all about these wonderful people. Thank you. Thank you. You're right. It is all about the men and women who made this sacrifice. And I was just handed this picture. This is George Kane over here. And he made one of the sacrifices, a firefighter who left way too soon. But this is what people march for.
Yes.
This is why parents remember their sons, their brothers, their sisters, their daughters. This is why we are proud to be American. And this is why we are so proud to carry America's parade.
And of course, we are commemorating again the 15th anniversary of 9/11, along with the 25th anniversary of Desert Storm.
Yep.
Our featured service this year is the Coast Guard, as we pay tribute to the waterborne evacuation. 500,000 people were evacuated from the southern tip of Manhattan on 9/11. And I'll tell you what, that's something, Suki, that I don't think people realize went down when those planes hit and folks were being evacuated down there on the southern tip. The Coast Guard were the first responders in action.
All right, let's take a look at, we'll get to that and we'll talk more about that, but let's look at some of the classic cars. Paul, did you have a hoopty like this back in the days, out of curiosity?
Although, that's about the age I was when I was driving, and when you called it a classic car, I said, come on, give me a break. Look at how beautiful that is.
Paul, you mean my Duster that my dad got me isn't a classic car? No. I got to imagine, veterans, they do so much. We saw some of the veterans riding their motorcycles and just kind of revving the engine and showing their pride. The louder they are, the stronger it is. And to see some of these classic cars go down Fifth Avenue is definitely a tradition.
One of the things to remind ourselves, too, is in Rolling Thunder, all of the bikers, they work with the Gold Star Mothers, they work with vets, and they go across this country reminding people that the common man is the one that wears the uniform and goes to war.
And you're right.
And I think it was wonderful. I've never seen so many bikes in New York City.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful.
And Paul, just getting back to you for a minute, because I'm enamored by your resume. When you came back from Vietnam, you went to teach at West Point.
Right.
So when you're teaching the cadets there at West Point, what's the response from them listening to a veteran who's come back from the Vietnam War, and they're learning from you now? Are they anxious about what they might face after they graduate from the academy?
I think that anxious, I'm not sure that implies a certain intrepidation. They are so gung-ho to serve. They want to go wherever it is that the troops are. They're not looking for an office job. They're looking for something where they can work with the troops and then hopefully lead troops and prevent war. There's not a soldier around wearing a uniform that looks for war. Every one of them and their families say, we got to prevent it.
And can we talk about the mothers, the daughters, the sons, all the people that so many people have to leave behind for their time in service? Hello, how are you guys? How are you? We love you. We salute you. We are proud of you. Thank you so much for being here.
Great. All right, let's kick it back down to Fifth Avenue. Our own Marvin Scott is live with some more special guests. Marvin.
This is a parade like none other. Are you enjoying it so far?
This is unbelievable. This is America's parade on Veterans Day. I can't believe how the tens of thousands of folks that are out here. It just, as an Iraq War veteran, as the Undersecretary of the Army, it just warms my heart to see America come together on behalf of our veterans.
Now, I understand the Army is the second largest employer in the United States. Walmart is first with 2 million. The Army's 1 million.
Yeah, we have 1.3 million folks that work in our Army, about 1 million soldiers, about 300,000 civilians, and we are America's varsity team, Marvin. We got good JV teams, Marine Corps and Air Force and Navy, but we're America's varsity team.
With that competition between Army and Navy.
That's right. Listen, we say a joke. My brother's in the Air Force. He's done 2 deployments. I've done 2 overseas deployments. My dad served during Vietnam. My uncle served. But listen, we rib each other, especially today, but it's all about the brotherhood and sisterhood of serving our country and keeping our family safe here at home.
Now, you've recently returned. You were visiting our troops overseas. And what's the morale right now?
Listen, morale's great. You spend 5 minutes with these young Americans, these young soldiers, and it's hard not to be inspired. I mean, these are people who are willing to live our values of duty, honor, and country. They live it every single day, and their families who give up so much. So I'm going to be over there on Thanksgiving in the Middle East to thank them, to have some turkey, serve some turkey over there. But people forget, right now we have over 140,000 soldiers in over 160 countries, projecting our power to make sure we take it to them so we don't get hurt here at home.
Well, thank you, and thank you for your service.
Thank you, Marvin.
I'm the Secretary of the Army, Patrick Murphy. Enjoy
God
the
bless
rest of
you.
the parade.
Thank you, Marvin. Thank you.
Back to the booth.
All right, thank you very much, Marvin. And of course, Suki, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention how many times Marvin Scott has been overseas to hang out with the troops. He brings presents during the holidays. Marvin Scott, really an unbelievable part of Pix 11, ladies and gentlemen. I want to bring in Ross Brown. He's the head of military and veterans affairs for J.P. Morgan Chase. Ross, thank you so much for coming in. Tell us about J.P. Morgan Chase's involvement in their work with veterans employment.
Absolutely. J.P. Morgan Chase has a heartfelt commitment that's pervasive throughout the organization for veterans. Over the past 5 years, we in J.P. Morgan Chase have hired 11,000.
Wow.
But we're very proud of the fact that we lead a coalition called the Veteran Jobs Mission.
Yes.
Okay.
235 members, and collectively we've hired over 300,000 veterans. But our goal is to hire 1 million.
Wow.
Wow, your goal. But let me correct you, 360,000 veterans hired.
That's right.
By 235 members of Veterans Job Mission. That is pretty amazing what you have done. Last time you were here last year was a very interesting year.
Yes.
And you made a commitment, and you were so strong with that. From last year to this year, how do you think that you have served this community, and what would you like to do more of?
Yeah, so we base our program at J.P. Morgan around 3 pillars, and I'll give you an example of one. We say we've hired 11,000. This year alone, in 2016, we're going to hire 2,000 veterans of J.P. Morgan Chase alone. That's a tremendous commitment by the organization, but we see the benefit every day of hiring these veterans, because while it's the right thing to do, most importantly, it's good for business.
Yes.
And that's what I think the entire Veteran Jobs Mission Coalition recognizes, is while it's the right thing to do, collectively we've acknowledged that it's really, really good for business.
And it's not only just about just getting jobs and families, but giving them homes, mortgages,
mortgage-free homes.
So there was a commitment by the firm during the mortgage crisis that Jamie Dimon and the leadership wanted to do something. They wanted to make a difference, not only in employment, but also in homes, because we saw a rise in veteran homelessness. And so the commitment in 2011 was to contribute 1,000 homes to deserving veterans. We're at about 885 now, and believe in 2017 we'll reach 1,000. And that's a market value of $130 million that the firm has committed to veterans and to providing homes to veterans.
Ross, I was reading a study. It says that veterans are having an easier time coming back, finding jobs today, even than they did just 5 years ago.
Yeah.
What's been the big change in just 5 years?
I think it's several things, but I'll talk to the Veteran Jobs Mission. I mean, when we began this endeavor in 2011, veteran joblessness was at 12%. Now for veterans, it's below the national average. It's 4.7, 4.8%.
Wow.
So I think it was the nation rallied around.
Sure.
Right? The benefit of hiring veterans, and I think throughout our country we've seen a commitment to bring them on. So I think that's the reason.
Well,
unbelievable.
I'm glad that we appreciate everything that you have done. The cooperation is done, and Ross Brown, head of Military and Veterans Affairs at J.P. Morgan. Listen, we're going to continue with America's Parade. Stick around. We'll be right after this break.
I joined the United States Marine Corps prior to joining the New York City Police Department. Well, I'm a veteran myself, and I thank other veterans. I feel like I have to show gratitude.
Shortly after the first plane hit, we heard coming in from the south this tremendous roar of the second plane. At that point, we all knew this was no longer an accident. We were under attack. So I radioed all the staff to shelter in place, control the crowd, don't let people panic. time I was a lieutenant in the Coast Guard Auxiliary, and the crowds were building up because there were thousands and thousands of people up against the railing on Battery Park City's seawall and continuing to come. I called to the Sandy Hook Pilots Association, and I also informed Activities New York, the Coast Guard station, that we needed an evacuation procedure for Lower Manhattan. Somewhere around 11:15, we started to see everything coming towards us across the border. They were coming from Brooklyn, they were coming from Staten Island, they were coming from Queens, down the East River, they were coming from Jersey. Boats were converging on Lower Manhattan. And I'm told that it's an effort that it was larger than the evacuation of Dunkirk as far as the number of people who were concerned.
And that was Vince McGowan giving you perspective on what happened that day. As we remember, 15 years since September 11th, 15 years since this city, well, saw nothing like what happened on that day. And it just gives me chills when I see all the heroic men and women who, when everybody was running away, ran inside. And as a reporter who was on the street that day, I will never forget so many of the faces and the response of America to serve this great country of ours since that day has been astounding. But what has been more amazing for me and makes me so proud to be an American is what we have done for our veterans since then, and protecting their families and taking care of them when they come back home.
And Suki, of course, our featured service this year is the U.S. Coast Guard. We're paying tribute to the waterborne evacuation of 500,000 people on 9/11 as we pay tribute to everyone, every woman and man in the armed forces. And you know, we talked about the Grand Marshals in the parade, and for the first time we have 3 Grand Marshals, all 9/11 responders, all post 9/11 veterans. And let me just get the names out here. They'll all be stopping by. Colonel Stephanie Dawson, Nelson Vergara, and Chief Joseph Duggan, FDNY Battalion Chief. They're all going to be coming by.
I gotta say, somebody perked up right here as soon as he heard his boys. Yes, there is the U.S. Army. I see you, Paul.
Led by the Corps of Cadets from West Point.
Led by the Corps of Cadets, and you as a graduate of the West Point, you couldn't be more proud. I know that.
I remember as a cadet marching in this parade. Well, it was wonderful.
You've been doing this parade for a long time, haven't you? How many years now?
5, 6 years already.
5, 6 years.
So what does it feel for you when you hear that?
Let me tell you, when Giuliani was mayor, we walked down Fifth Avenue, but they told us to stop at the lights and stay out of the way.
Let's take a look at the cadets. What do the cadets feel right now marching down Fifth Avenue?
They can't believe it, but I'll tell you what, besides being able to do this, they're saying, we're the best.
They do. There is pride.
That's right.
Because, I just heard another, a commander saying, you know what, we're the varsity team.
That's right.
What is that like? We're the varsity team.
Well, all the service academies, in particular, really have a rivalry. When you get down to the troops, it's even worse than that.
You mean on the football field there's a rivalry
We have Army-Navy coming up, but we keep track of every score, every competition.
Well, listen, the United States Corps of Cadets Pipes and Drums is the cadet pipe band of the United States Military Academy at West Point. All cadets will graduate to be commissioned officers in the U.S. Army. And folks, the mission of the USCC Pipes and Drums is to provide world-class musical support to the United States Corps of Cadets and the U.S. Military Academy. Look at them go.
All right, tell us what they're doing. What are they saying right now?
Oh, well, they're passing in review. But I think it's important to point out something that, Suki, you would find really important.
Okay.
15% of the Corps of Cadets are female.
Really?
15. 43% of the leadership positions are filled by females. So,
and we were talking about this last year, too, just how many inroads women have made in the armed services, how far they have come in serving this great country and getting the honor that men have gotten in the past.
It's a lesson for the country as a whole.
It is a lesson for the country as a
The
whole.
motto of the U.S. Army, this will defend, of course, the black and gold. And if you're a football fan of Army,
it's all
about that black and gold. Are you a big fan of Army football?
Oh, I was just talking to the athletes up there yesterday. I happen to have been a swimmer when I was there. So I went up and spoke to all the swimmers because they're going to swim Navy on December 3rd.
Wait, you were a swimmer?
I was a swimmer.
Nice.
Correct.
What was your event?
All of them.
All of them.
I did the individual medley, and therefore I had to do the others.
Gold medal
And he's a
recipient.
good-looking guy.
Come on, he's
a good-looking guy. It's unbelievable.
And there you have it right there as they're marching down Fifth Avenue, a sense of pride, walking past the Empire State Building. We've got the library right here, and this is the U.S. Army. The Transportation Brigade right there. And they're saying something right now. I can't hear all of it. Are they marching in?
They're doing the Jody cadence to make sure everybody keeps, because there's no band playing music. So they're accentuating one word, and that means left foot, left foot, left foot.
I got it. Now I know. Left foot there, Scotty.
One thing about this particular group.
Yes.
In Afghanistan and Iraq, the most dangerous job was convoy.
Convoy.
Because there was no doubt as to where you were going, and you can't protect everything. These young men and women who did the resupply came home and no one understood. They too, just like the SEALs, the airborne, were in combat every single day, and they deserve a tremendous salute.
Well, let me ask you a question. You're a Medal of Honor recipient. What was that like for you to get that Medal of Honor? Was it from Nixon?
From Nixon.
I believe you got that from President Nixon. What was that like for you?
When they first told me I was going to receive it, I said I wanted to turn it down.
Why?
I have 10 men on that black shiny wall.
I wanted to share it with them.
And they earned it more than I. And I thought there's something that's a disconnect when someone dies and someone else gets a medal. That's not the way we were brought together. So I wear my medal on behalf of my men.
Yes, you do.
And if people say, "Oh, gee, it's nice meeting you," I say, "If you could only meet my men."
I think when you interview other Medal of War recipients, they say the same thing.
Right.
They say the same thing. This is not for me. This is not for me. This is for all the men that I left behind that couldn't be here today.
Absolutely.
And the men that served side by side for the freedoms that we do have. So we salute you like we salute everyone else, and our hearts are bursting with pride. And I see that pride in your eyes because I know you as a leader. That was a moment for you that you had every one of their names in your mind and in your heart as you took that medal for everyone.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to shake your hand all day.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the Veterans Day Parade 2016, America's Parade, right here on Pix 11. Lots more to do when we come back.
Hey everybody, this is Ryan McDonough here from the New York Rangers. On behalf of the entire Rangers organization, on Veterans Day, I'd like to give thanks to all those first responders who answered the call of duty on 9/11 and who continue to serve us every day to keep us safe. We truly appreciate everything. We definitely don't take anything for granted, so we really appreciate it, and we thank you for your service.
And there you have it. Rangers captain Ryan
Let's go
McDonough right
Rangers.
there. Let's go Rangers
Yes,
is right.
indeed.
Thank you so much and welcome back to the 2016 America's Parade. You're looking at a beautiful shot of Fifth Avenue, New York City, and what a beautiful day as we celebrate and we salute the men and women of the armed forces.
Yes, Suki, I have to tell you, this is real. I know you did this last year.
It's amazing,
This
right?
is really an honor for me to be sitting next to you today and just, paying tribute to all the men and women of the armed forces, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, Coast Guard. Sitting here with this gentleman right here is just
It's incredible.
An absolute honor. Paul Buca, Medal of Honor winner, Vietnam vet, and I could stare at him all day.
Absolutely. He's a good-looking man now, I got to tell you.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's bring in another guest here with us, Floyd Green from Aetna. So nice to have you here. VP of Community Relations and Urban Marketing at Aetna. And Aetna has made such a commitment to New York City veterans. And I want you to give Floyd, the people at home, a reason why Aetna made that strong commitment to veterans.
Yeah, we fully believe in the work that our men and women do in the military.
Yes.
And the show of our commitment, we're one of the title sponsors of today's parade. We have over 200 Aetna employees who are marching, including our chairman, Mark Bertolini, who just showed up to walk with the group of Aetna employees. We're honoring today our Fidelco guide dogs for servicemen who've lost their sight, servicemen and women who've lost their sight. And our chairman is actually raising one of the dogs as we
those dogs are phenomenal.
They're phenomenal.
And we've covered so many stories of how important those service dogs are for men and women and the bond that they share.
Absolutely.
They share with our servicemen and women.
It's incredible. And we also have the USO on our float, so we're very excited about that.
Wonderful.
Men and women who are traveling all over the world to entertain our troops.
Floyd, you got the tagline reads "Possibilities for all abilities."
Yeah.
What's the significance of that?
Well, we truly believe that no matter what branch you serve in, no matter who you are in the military, no matter what you did in the military, that with Aetna, all abilities are possibilities.
Well, since 2000, Aetna has walked the walk, ladies
Yeah.
and gentlemen, donating more than $1.3 million to organizations that support the military and veterans causes. So we applaud you as a corporate sponsor, not only of this parade, but really year-round, and making that commitment since 2000. I got to say, as a healthcare company, Aetna has made a very clear commitment. The mission and the vision, is it changing as more men and women come back home?
Well, you know, we believe in a healthy, creating a healthier world, right? And so creating a healthier world means not just for the men and women who are currently serving, but to make sure that men and women who are coming back and their families get the services that they need to live healthier lives. And so we know that there's so much need out there, and we're hoping to be a part of the solution for the men and women who have served our nation.
I'd like to commend you back on the service dogs.
Yes.
I would be great if Aetna could lead all the insurance companies to understand this is not something different. This is not a gimmick. It's something that works.
It is.
That the men and women, not only military types, but anybody who are suffering disabilities and mental challenges, these dogs, these animals are absolutely exquisite and necessary.
They are, and you know, and they help to allow our servicemen and women who serve to live healthy lives, to live normal lives, to acclimate to society and to contribute.
Well,
and we celebrate them by doing this.
And as news organizations, and I know many people at home have seen these videos when people come home and they're reunited with their service dog, what that means to them.
How important.
Yeah, how important that bond is, that unconditional love that somebody who was there through some of their most trying moments is now with them at home to help them reacclimate, to become a part of society again. And that unconditional love is something an animal, if you're an animal lover at home, you know that sometimes we as humans, we are frail. We are frail. And our furry friends give us some other support that we need all the time.
You know, commitment throughout our organization starts at the top. And
Sure.
our chairman, who is actually Mark Bertolini, who I mentioned is walking, is on the board of the Delta. And so many of our employees all over the country are really hoping we will be able to support the men and women who have done such an incredible job, but more so that we'll be able to hire them and make them a part of the Aetna family. We have hired over 1,000 so far, and we have a program where we're getting veterans to self-identify, so that we'll know exactly, even within our own Aetna population, who the veterans are, so that we can provide the services even within our own
And
population.
Floyd, the veterans that come back, how do you feel that they acclimate back into work life? I mean, some have seen things that you know we hope to never see in our lifetime. How do they acclimate back into normal work life?
They extremely well. I mean, you think of everything that the military trains our servicemen and women to do are all the skills and competencies that we need in order to run an important company and to keep our mission strong.
Well,
but more so, we can provide the services to help those that have been impacted by our healthcare nurses and doctors.
Well, that's why you're a proud member of the Veterans Job Mission, and you really do it. At Aetna, 1,000 out of the 50,000 employees are veterans. That says something right there. Hi, guys. How are you? How are you? Corrections officers right there. We love you. NYPD Corrections. I'm right there with you. Right back.
And the tear rats right behind.
Yes, right there. Wave, ladies. There they are.
And we thank you for your
Well,
leadership.
thank you,
We
thank
really
you.
do.
And again, we want everyone to go into hashtag Aetna Cares, because possibilities for all abilities. And
Floyd
we want
Green III, thank you, my friend. Pleasure having you. Vice President.
Possibilities for all abilities. We got it.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the 2016 Veterans Day Parade, America's Parade here on Pix 11. Lots more to do. Come on back. Yes, we are back here on the 2016 Veterans Day Parade, live New York City, 5th Avenue. If you're following us on Twitter, you can hashtag us at America's Parade and at America's Parade. And look at that vehicle, Sue. Is that your weekend car right
there? That's my ride, Paul.
Wow.
We showed your hoopty back then. Welcome to mine right here on Fifth Avenue. And I don't know, I'm not a car connoisseur, but that's got to be.
No?
Is it a Lamborghini?
I think it's a Lamborghini.
I'm not a car expert, but I think that is a Lamborghini.
It's a Porsche and a beautiful Lamborghini
yeah,
right there.
Yeah, that is a Lamborghini.
It's pretty incredible as we look at it, and everybody in awe. All the men are just in awe right now as they're looking at that beautiful,
and little do they know it's yours.
Ride.
Listen, it was
Absolutely.
a tremendous Veterans Week here in New York City. On Wednesday, there was a tribute to those who served our nation and city on 9/11, which was really a tribute to the 9/11 first responders who also served in the military. Yesterday, we had the Marine Corps birthday celebration down at the Union League Club, a formal celebration of the 241st birthday of the U.S. Marine Corps, and of course today, the Veterans Parade here in New York City. But, Paul, really, that's just the tip of the iceberg as far as this. It's the Veterans Week, but it's really 2 weeks, right?
Well, and it goes even to the 17th.
17th, yeah.
But this was United War Veterans Council, Veterans Advantage.
Yeah.
And Jerry Byrne, who does all the Marine Corps events. Scott Higgins is Veterans Advantage. And Vince McGowan, who we just heard from.
Yes.
They came together and said we should move all the honoring of veterans and military into 1 week. And then it ended up, there was so much going on in New York where you need more than 1 week. So 2 weeks, we're going on to our third now.
Hey, listen, you know what? They could do a month, really, just celebrate you guys every day of the year as far as I'm concerned. And you know, as an ambassador of this thing, you attend every event, don't you?
I try to do as many as I can in New York during this period, but I also try to do one on average per month across the country somewhere.
Well, let's take a look at the Purple Heart float presented by the History Channel. The Purple Heart is awarded to those wounded or killed while serving with the United States military. The Purple Heart is the oldest military award still given to U.S. military members. The National Purple Heart Hall of Honor is located in New Windsor, New York. Hello! How are you guys? So nice to see you.
How are you guys?
Thank you. Thank you for being here. The Military Order of the Purple Heart, established in 1782, all the way to 1932. Thank you so much.
So
that's
terrific.
Their home. The Hall of Fame is based on the New Windsor Cantonment, where Washington had winterized his troops, and where he came up with a medal. The only medal that was given was called the Meritorious Medal, which is exactly the Purple Heart with his profile on it. And that medal is still given today, but it's a wonderful
honoring service and sacrifice. It is the price of freedom. The Purple Heart float.
You know, the Veterans Day, you know, the original name, Suk, we were talking about this all morning on the Pix 11 Morning News. It originally was called Armistice Day. You know, this took place, and Paul, I'm going to blow you away with this history because I know about all this stuff.
I understand that.
It was the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month in 1918. The armistice was declared ending World War I. And then in 1954, President Eisenhower renamed it Veterans Day to honor American vets of all wars. And here we are. We're approaching the 100th anniversary of this thing. You know, 2019 will be the 100th anniversary. So you know, just a great cause. And again, you know what? Today's Veterans Day, ladies and gentlemen. Every day is Veterans Day.
Absolutely. Let's go to Elise Parker, who's down there on Fifth Avenue. She's there with a very special guest. She's there with Sal. Go ahead, Elise.
Hey, guys. It is a very special day today, and I'm here with Sal Scorlato, who is a Korean War veteran, and the ambassador to Korea, Jiwon Kim. Sal, you're with us every year. As a Korean War veteran, you have this amazing relationship with the ambassador of Korea, Kim. Can you tell us about that friendship?
Yes. First of all, Ambassador Kim and his staff and his office is more like brothers to us. We rely on their sympathy and their honor, and they cherish our respect. That the relationship between the Koreans and the USA Alliance is bonded is fantastic, and every year it gets bigger and better and better. And like I say, I call them my brothers and my sisters now instead of friends.
Well, Sal, we love having you, and Ambassador Kim, we love having you here as well. Can you tell us, as the only foreign dignitary that's invited to participate in today's parade, what does that mean to you?
This is a really great privilege to get invited to this annual parade. I feel very grateful to Korean War veterans. They are evidence of a strong alliance between Korea and United States. So the year after year, we feel more grateful to them, and also we are thinking hard how to get this down to offsprings of the Korean War veterans. We are preparing many programs to their children's scholarships and revisit to Korea and many other programs to them.
Wonderful. Well, best of luck with all of that. And both of you, thank you so much for being here with us, and happy Veterans Day to you. Guys, let's go back to the booth.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, Elise. And of course, let's bring in one of our Grand Marshals right here who's joining us on the day. It's so nice to have you, Stephanie Dawson. How does it feel to be a Grand Marshal of this parade?
It is actually quite unbelievable. I've marched in this parade many times from lieutenant to brigade commander, and never did I imagine that I would be one of the Grand Marshals.
Well, you are the Chief Operating Officer of the Port Authority, the Colonel Stephanie Dawson. It's such an honor to have you
Newly
here.
promoted, right?
Yes.
Recently promoted?
Yes.
So, okay, so how did your time in the military help you prepare for what you're doing now?
At the end of the day, I've been a career logistics professional. So that means I started out as an ordnance and maintenance officer.
Yes.
And, you know, after that, I've worked on multi-nodes and multi-modes. And the Port Authority is in the multi-nodal business. So we have lots of facilities, and we provide, you know, multiple modes. And a key part of what we do is make sure that all of those assets and the people that support them are prepared.
Well, the Port Authority lost 84 employees on 9/11.
On that day.
Yes, it's been 15 years.
Yes.
And for you, now as the Chief Operating Officer, what are your thoughts? And also, because you did serve during Operation Enduring Freedom and Operation Iraqi Freedom, what are your thoughts this morning as you lead your men and women here in New York City?
It's very heartwarming, and at the same time, I thought often of that day and the tragic loss, but in the immediate aftermath of the loss, everyone came together to work to make America safer. And being one of the first units to deploy from New York State, it was especially touching given that the 9/11 collapse brought together the two worlds that I operated in, Port Authority and military. It was especially both challenging and motivational to be a part of the recovery effort, and then being one of those first units to deploy.
I got to applaud you because you're one of the first women to serve as a brigade commander in New York. And she is a woman from Brooklyn, everybody. Brooklyn is in the house right here.
Grand Marshal Colonel Stephanie Dawson. Colonel, you know, we were talking earlier about all the women that are enrolled at West Point right now. And all the women that have enlisted in the armed forces. Do you think we'll see more women as the years go along? Do you think it'll be a much bigger faction of women who are joining the armed forces?
I think at the end of the day, now that there's opportunity to be in any field that you choose and that you're qualified for, I think we will see more women. And in actuality, long before the policies are inked, the service starts. And so really, current day is just really a recognition of the work that's always been done. And many of our stories as women have not been told.
Yes.
There has been plenty of service, and we encourage all women to tell those stories so that that fabric of history is as multicolorful as it really is.
Yes, we need to give a voice to everyone because it is a multicolored fabric that we wear, and there is no, there is nothing that cannot be left out when you're telling history. So I thank you so much for being here, and congratulations on being Grand Marshal. It is our pride to have you here.
Thank
it is the
you.
2016 America's Parade. You're
Thank
watching
you.
it live right here. We'll be right back.